There we go. Hi, I'm here with Rodney Herrington, founder and CEO of Aqua Research. Rodney, when I talk to you and when I look at the website and see what Aqua Research is doing, it's very exciting opportunity to talk with you today. So
Thank you.
With that, would you give us a little bit of a background on Aqua Research?
Okay, so I started Aqua Research in 2010, about 11 years ago. And I had previously been with a company called MIOX, M-I-O-X, which is on-site generation of chlorine using salt. So we developed this technology prior to MIOX under government SBIR, Small Business Innovative Research contracts, to develop technologies for military soldiers. And after we started MIOX in '94, we had a bigger contract with DARPA, Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. We had benefit of a lot of resources to really optimize this technology for the military. So it was commercialized. It was through the outdoor retail channels and then to the military, the Marines and so forth. But anyway, for a variety of reasons, in 2010, I elected to leave MIOX and start my own business because I believe that our technology had evolved, and technology in general had evolved in lithium ion batteries, rechargeable batteries, solar panels, and all that, where they were cost effective, and we could develop a technology for the developing world, people in low to middle income settings. And it was not a technology, it was not the focus of MIOX. They were primarily interested in the industrial market. So I left and started Aqua Research. And it's basically was angel and family funded. My dad got me started, and we began and started developing what I call the second generation of this little handheld device we call H2Go. But it has we've expanded that technology now over 11 years. We have a product line of chlorination systems that can treat millions of gallons of water a day now. And we're using it to make sanitation or disinfectant technologies in healthcare facilities in low-income countries. And a lot of these remote healthcare facilities don't even have access to chlorine today. And when they get it, it's degraded. And with COVID last year, I mean, they couldn't get it. They couldn't get chlorine. And I mean, chlorine just went, the regular sources of bleach, chlorine, calcium hypochlorite, which is the HTH stuff you put in pools and so forth, tablets, all got very expensive and scarce. Our technology, people are beginning to realize, I mean, all of that stuff ultimately began with just salt. You have salt, sodium chloride, you make a brine solution out of it, saltwater solution, you strip electrons off of chloride to make chlorine, and you have a liquid chlorine solution that the customer can make themselves when they need it with a very cheap and available, universally available feedstock. So we're not selling a razor blade, we're selling a razor. We're selling a device that they can use with common commodity of salt to make chlorine when they need it, fresh when they need it, and as much as they need. And so that's the power of our technology versus all this other stuff, particularly in low to middle income countries where, logistics trains, consumable costs of getting chlorine, all those things are very difficult. So we believe we have the right answer, the right technology. We're not a filtration technology. We do have some filter products, don't get me wrong, but our focus is chlorination. And
talk a little bit, you've got a product line, more than just one product. Why don't you kind of summarize the product line and the markets you look to address with each?
Okay, so the little H2Go is a little handheld unit. It's only, 4 ounces. you know, and it's got capability to treat anywhere from 1, 2, 5, 10, or 20 liters at a time. And it'll do 300 liters on one battery charge. And then you recharge it with the USB port. Everybody has a cell phone, or you over, it's got a solar panel on it. You can recharge it. So there's really nothing other than salt that the consumer, the user, say a lady in a developing country, needs to make 10 gallons a day of safe water for a week before she has to recharge it. Or she can be recharging it along the way by turning it over, use the solar panel on it. But like your cell phone, you can recharge it 500 times. And and if you're doing once a week, that's 50 a year. So it's 10 years of safe water. And the price of salt to run that for a whole year is 50 cents. It's one container of salt. So there is no cheaper way, even if you amortize the cost of our device over the life of water it treats, plus the salt, you know. And we have a retail channel price of those devices of $100, but when we're selling to non-government organizations directly, we don't have the distribution channel markup. So we sell it for about half that price to NGOs, and then we can distribute it out. And of course, we're working on a number of models in country to get entrepreneurs at the local level to where they're selling this technology, making a living doing it, and helping their neighbors and an affordable. They can finance it to their neighbor for $1 a month or something. But that's the H2Go. And then the next step up is what we call Stream, and it's in a Pelican case, about the size of a briefcase, and it'll make enough water to treat 60,000 gallons of water a day of drinking water, which at a 2.5 part per million dose. Now this thing you can plug into 110 or 220 or a car battery or a solar panel system. And again, it just uses salt as a feedstock and that power to make chlorine. And it's designed to make chlorine at a concentration of 5,000 parts per million, which is the World Health Organization and CDC concentration that they want to use in highly contaminated healthcare facility, you know, situations like Ebola, for instance. And then you can dilute it down 10 to 500 parts per million for disinfecting surfaces in healthcare facilities. So we have a number of these systems deployed with PATH, P-A-T-H, out of Seattle, big NGO, Catholic Relief Services, Operation Blessing International out of Virginia Beach. We're beginning to work with World Vision. And these systems are being demonstrated in remote healthcare facilities in places like Uganda, Rwanda, Mozambique, and other countries to demonstrate efficacy, reliability of the technology. So, and we're working with, PATH has connections with all the ministers of health in these countries. So they're working with the ministers of health to get the technology accepted. So that's the Stream system. And they're primarily have been used in healthcare settings, not so much for drinking water, but they can be, it's chlorine. You can use them in you know, small piped water systems in these villages and so forth. A lot of different applications for the technology. The next size system up is what we call the AR, Aqua Research Series. It's more of a commercial size system that'll, we have two versions of it, a 5 pound a day chlorine or 10 pound a day chlorine. We call them AR3 and AR5 because we're trying to use the metric designations. But 3 kilograms a day will treat 3 million liters of water a day at 1 part per million dose. Now that usually takes more than 1 part per million, but if you're doing 2 parts per million, then it's 1.5 million liters of water a day that system would treat. But it has commercial applications, not only in, you know, healthcare facilities, but in cooling towers and aquatics and other things like that. And then the fourth system, we've got what we call K series, a kilogram series, and it'll treat 7 or 11 kilograms, depending on how we configure it. And we've deployed recently 5 of those large systems in Haiti. And those systems are fully automated like the AR series, but even more sophisticated. And you get an Ethernet connection to them, we can monitor them in our office, just like we can the AR series. And going back to the Stream series, we have a GPS and Wi-Fi communication capability in them so that NGOs can monitor where they're at and what they're producing in terms of chlorine, so they can determine that people are actually using them, you know, and where they're being used. But the K series, we have 5 of those in Haiti in strategic locations around Haiti. And they use those to make 5,000 part per minute, 0.5% chlorine solution. They bottle it up and they distribute it. This is a USAID program to distribute chlorine to 168 healthcare facilities in Haiti. It is the source, 5 of these throughout the country. And one of them is located in Lakai, which is on the southern peninsula where that recent earthquake was. And that system rode right through the earthquake. And on Monday morning, they turned it on and we're making chlorine to support the disaster relief with that earthquake.
That's fantastic.
Reliable system. You know, we had them seismically mounted and everything because of the previous earthquake there. And so they're fully automated systems, very reliable. We've got all and I've been doing this technology for 25 years, so I think it's pretty mature and reliable. So anyway, it's that's what our mission is. It's primarily chlorine. It's making chlorine with salt, which is a very low cost consumable. There is no cheaper way to make chlorine than this technology.
As CEO of the company, founder, CEO, what pleasant surprises have you had?
When I first started doing this 10, 11 years ago, I'm thinking we need to come up with a technology. I think the solar panels and the lithium battery and the technology in general had matured to the point that we could actually develop a system that could be useful for people in very low income settings, that didn't require consumable, that was the most effective technology recognized by CDC and the World Health Organization, i.e. chlorine, that we could make a system that would actually be sustainable and reliable. And so that's motivational, I guess, in the sense that conceived an idea that is actually works and is good and is really done some good. So yeah, and our technologies have been deployed worldwide with NGOs, from Puerto Rico disaster to Nepal earthquake to you name it, lots of different places around the world. So yeah.
So you started the company in 2010. When did you become commercial? When you had actually a commercial product? How long did it take you?
It took us until about 2015 to launch H2Go initially, and then we were developing the Stream system, and then the commercial series, which I had already previously developed at Myox, and I just developed my own version with the latest state-of-the-art technology. So, you know, we're just, you know, distributing and selling, manufacturing here products, you know, a lot of different applications. And so
Establishing a relationship with Global Water, many organizations out in the marketplace. What do you see in Global Waterworks as a value to you and Aqua Research?
I think that Global Waterworks has a passion for solving this problem, this water problem. And quite frankly, I'm impressed with Mary Eggert and you guys. I mean, you're motivated beyond, you're doing this not for making money. You're doing it to get the word out. You're doing it the goodness of your heart, so to speak, or whatever motivates you individually to really help solve a big problem. 2 billion people on the planet don't have access to safe water. And I think you have a special emphasis on solving that problem in the developing world. There's issues in the United States as well, but they're minor compared to what problems are faced by people in developing countries. So I think you have a special emphasis in that area. Your heart is in the right place, and I think you do things that are effective in helping promote technologies and application and investors that are involved in those technologies to help this whole ecosystem work. So that's why I like you guys.
Yeah, thank you. So back to Aqua Research, where do you see the company 12 to 18, maybe 36 months out?
Well, right now, for the last year, we have been working with Pat out of Seattle Cat Relief Services and other big NGOs to get this technology adopted, demonstrated, showing its effectiveness and reliability in the field in remote healthcare facilities in developing countries. So in the next 12 to 18 months, I want to see adoption of that technology, the proof of what we've been doing for the last year or so, come to fruition where this technology is the de facto standard for those applications. And then this thing is gonna get big. So, you know, we're kind of rocking along here right now. And, you know, the acceptance of the technology in these locations is amazing. We're seeing a lot of great acceptance, but it takes time. It's like anything. You got to demonstrate it. You got to prove it works. They got to get comfortable with it. And, you know, and then of course you got to find the money. They've got to find the money to make it, you know, to implement it and so forth. So we're patient. You know, I've been doing this 11 years.
That's right. It didn't start last Saturday.
It takes patience. It takes patient investors. You know, we haven't done any VC level funding yet in this company, but I'm ready to do that so we can really be prepared for what we know is coming. I mean, I'm pretty comfortable from the feedback we're getting from the NGOs and the users of the technology in these developing world areas that this technology is pretty exciting for them. So they're able to make chlorine when they need it. They don't have logistics problems. It's cheap source materials. I mean, you know, so the feedback is great, and I'm comfortable that we'll get there, get the ministers of health comfortable with the technology and adopt it as a standard. So what I'd like to do in the next, you know, complete doing in the next 12 to 18 months.
That's great. So Rodney, this has been wonderful talking with you and spending time with you. And certainly Aqua Research has a great technology out there in the marketplace. Certainly you have, like you said about us, I think your heart's in the right place also as you drive this into the marketplace, and wish you all the best. Thank you so much for spending time with me today.
Well, thank you, Frank. I appreciate it. And we look forward to working with you guys as we go forward here.
We look forward to it too. Thank you, Rodney.
Thank you, Dan. Bye.
Bye-bye.